Hey guys, it's Ampro here, and I'm finally back with another video. This video I'm going to be starting off my VFX Essentials series, and we're going to kick that off with the rock module. For now though, the rock module is only going to have 3 things, but if you guys really like this video, I'll add 3 more other effects to this rock module, and we'll see where that goes. So for now, we just have the simple crater. It just generates the crater, it works for different sizes. I have it on random right now. And you can see rock trails, which as you can see, you can create like different variations of like rock trails. You can even have this curve at the end that I added, which I thought looked nice. And then you can also create other types of craters like this one. So yeah, these are the 3 things that will be inside the rock module. Basically just for your usage, get easier for you to create different effects that include craters. It works for different angles, and you can already tell the materials and everything works. So yeah, I'm gonna try a new video format this time. I'm not gonna actually real-time create the code, because I feel like when I do that, sometimes I mess up, and then when I go back and fix it, some people end up skipping that part, and then they have the same error that I have, but they don't know that I went back and fixed it. And they'll say that, oh, I did the code exactly as you did it, and then it'll not work. And then they're gonna whine about it in the comments. So I decided just to explain the code that already works. So if there's anything wrong with your code, just go back and make sure you have it 100% matching with my code. Because this time there will be no errors inside. So I have 2 scripts here, the crater test, which is just a testing code. You don't need to copy this, but if you want to test it the way I did, with like it just spawning at my mouse, then yeah, use this. But if you want to use it for actual purposes, you're just going to want to copy the way I call the rock module wherever you need your crater to be. And without further ado, let me just explain the rock module. So basically it's just a module script. I put it in replicate storage, I call it rock module, and inside there are a few methods that I'm going to explain. First, there's going to be like these 2 helper methods. Spawn part basically just creates a part given a size, final C-frame, initial C-frame, material, transparency, color, tween info. It starts out with no size, and then it will grow with the tween to be the proper size. It'll move from the center CF, which is basically just the initial CF, to CF, which is whatever C-frame that you want it to be at the end, and it plays all that. It returns the part, so then you can actually access the properties and the actual physical part that you create, because you might want to actually like destroy this part later or do some other things with the parts inside the rock module. For this case, there's less of that, but you still will need to access the part, which is why you return part. And then here is a random angle generator. It just generates a random C-frame angle. And let me explain the basic crater now. So given the origin, direction, segments, radius, height, width, x angle, speed, and lifetime, I basically just use a loop to create a circle, place the parts there, see if there's anything beneath it. If there is, then I actually generate the part, and then I move it down to whatever height that it's supposed to be using the height differential. And then I call spawn part to actually create the physical part. Oops, I dragged something there. And then after the lifetime goes by, I make the tween play and I destroy the part. So to explain this more in depth, the origin is basically the center point of your cast. And then direction is from that point where the crater is being created from. So I guess the direction of the impact. So imagine if you had a meteor. The meteor, right before it hits ground, would be the origin. The direction would be the direction that the meteor was going. And basically, what happens here is that I take the raycast intersection of the direction from the origin, and that'll be like a point on the ground where the meteor will actually impact on. And then from there, I create the circle around it, and then it becomes a crater. Inside there you can see that I have a X angle. Basically that's how steep the crater is, height and width are self-explanatory. Speed is how fast the animation plays, and lifetime is how long the crater lasts. I'm not going to explain the math too much. It's just a bunch of C-frame stuff and trigonometry. So some people were telling me that you didn't need math for coding, but here it is. Here's math. So yeah, if you really want to get into VFX, you do want to know yourself some math. It'll just be really helpful whenever you do the scripting part of it. If you just make the particles, that's fine. You don't need any math for that. But if you actually want it to look good and function, then you might want to learn some math. You could just search it up all online, but that won't give you the best answer. And if you knew your math, it'll be much faster than having to do your research online. So here's the Crater 2. That's like the one with the larger sides. It uses the same parameters as the normal crater, and the way it works is basically I just create 2 craters. Here's the first crater. It's nearly identical with the normal crater. The only difference is that I just, instead of making it smaller when it fades away, I just move it downward into the ground. You can change that to whatever you want. I just wanted to show that you could do 2 different types. And then the second ring, so the second set of the crater, is just a bigger version with an inverted angle and a smaller angle and bigger width and height. So here's the math for that. It's basically the same thing as whatever is up here. So yeah, Crater 2 is pretty simple. Trail is a little bit more complicated. We have origin, direction, distance, so how far the trail actually goes. The width, which is basically how far apart the 2 trails are. The size, which is like how big the rocks actually are. Width M and size M are how much the width and the size should change per iteration. Speed is how fast the rocks appear. Round is a true or false, so if you want the little rounded end, you set it to true. If you don't want it, set it to false. And then segment size is how many segments are generated per iteration, or like, it's not really per iteration, it's like how many segments do I make before I wait. This is what actually affects like how fast the trail fully completed. The speed is just how fast the animation is. There is a difference. If you want it to be really fast, you're going to want to use segment size. If you want the animation of it to be really fast, then you do speed, decrease the speed. And then lifetime is just how long it lasts. Okay, so we still also just use a raycast. Make sure you have your map inside a map folder, and you also have an effects folder. This is like the basic setup that I use for all my scripts. And let's see. Okay, so C1 and C2 are basically the C frames of the right side and left side of the trail. And then this code is basically repeated twice, just with a different width. So I use negative width there, and I use minus here. But these two are almost the same. You just create a line from that origin. And then I have a modulus thing here, which basically I just see if the segment size, the number of segments that have just been generated, is divisible by the segment size. If there's no remainder, that means that I'm gonna wait. Basically, that just makes it so that the trail doesn't generate instantly. It's like appears slowly or quickly, depending on how many segments you want it to generate to make before waiting. So if I had a really high segment size, then it'll be really fast. If I have a low segment size, it'll be really slow. But it can't be below 1, it can't be 0. So let's see. This is the rounding code again. A lot of trigonometry right here. And I do almost the same thing here with like different ray casts. Basically just cast downward, and I set the color, material, transparency to whatever the ray cast hits. And then from there I just decrease the size. So now I'm going to show you how customizable this is. So I'm going to change the trail up. I'm going to make it so that it goes not very far. So I'll do like 40 or something. The width, I'm going to want it to change a little more. So it's going to become wider and wider. Size, I think the size was a little big, so I'll do something smaller. Speed, 0.2 is fine. Round, yeah, I'm going to keep that. Segment size, I'm going to make it slower, so I'll make it like 2 or something. And then the lifetime, I'm just gonna keep it there. For the normal crater, I'm going to change the radius. I'm gonna make it so that it can be really big. And for the other one, let's see. I'm gonna make it so that it has a slower angle. Alright, so let's see if those changes took effect. Let's see. There's our rock trail. Do you see how slow that is and how wide it is? So that worked. The size change is not as dramatic as it was before. Looks nice. Let me see if the normal crater, as you can see, despite the size change, it still looks correct. It still has the correct alignments. If you change the width and height, it'll definitely look a lot better. But this is just the general size that I use. And then let's look at the big crater. So yeah, as you can see, the angle's a lot lower. Yeah, it all scales properly. Materials are all correct as well. It all works. Yeah, this is going to be very useful for any people who are trying to make skills or visual effects, scripted visual effects. So if you like this type of content, make sure you like and subscribe so I know. Leave a comment on which effect you like the most, and then what you want to see in the next installment of this VFX Essential series. I'm considering continuing the rock module or doing like impact frames or something. Just something really common that you see that no one has made a tutorial about, or no one has made like a decent tutorial on. And also let me know if you like this new video format. I know with this video format, you guys don't see me like see my coding process, and I know some people like to see that, but I feel like this way you're just less likely to make mistakes and your code will be more correct. So I guess it's a trade-off. So yeah, let me know which one you like more. Subscribe to my channel, it'll be really helpful. And then join the Discord, because that's where a lot of like nice people on there can help you with your code. The YouTube comments isn't really the place to do that. I don't really check those too often. But in Discord, I'll be a lot more active, and there's other people who can help you. And then like the video, and yeah, let me know what you guys want to see next, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks, guys.